ready to rock and roll.
Good evening and welcome to On the Line in 60 frames per second. I am your host, Eric Walker, and we have a special show for you tonight, Uniswap V3 liquidity in relation to Mega and ETH, and this applies to any combination inside of Uniswap, any coin combination. Glad to have everybody here. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing, I'm going to post a link up here, guys, and this is the Uniswap V3 liquidity pool for Mega specifically, Mega and ETH. So if we click on this link, what we're going to see is this page that I have right in front of you. So let's take a look and see what we've got. So really, you're going to start here on the volume page, and go ahead and click on this liquidity. And this is going to bring up this graph. So we're going to zoom in a little bit. And what does this mean? Well, in Discord, there was a lot of questions about liquidity, providing liquidity, how it works, and a lot of incorrect information out there. So I want to try to clear the record if I can and see if I can help people understand this better and make the correct decisions in game. So there is liquidity. We just need to be able to interpret it and again make those decisions. So let's take a look at this real quick. So right here, first thing you're going to notice is this little pink line, and everything to the left of the line is going to be Mega liquidity, and everything to the right of the line is ETH liquidity. Okay, so that's really simple there, guys. That's where it begins. So let's zoom in and see what we've got here. So again, we still have this pink line, and let's start right on the line. So right here, it's saying it has 0.24 ETH locked on this line, right? And to the left of it, we're going to see they have 1.49K Mega. So let's start there, guys. So every one of these little lines right here is worth 1.49K Mega. That means somebody has put in 1.49K. Basically, they have stored it inside of Uniswap V3. So if we look at this, so the first one we see is 62.45 for the price of 1 ETH worth of Mega. Let's go ahead and write that down. So this first line right here is 1 ETH equals 6,245 Mega. So as you scroll to the left, the price of that Mega is going to cost more and more and more and more. So if you're selling that Mega, hey, that's great. You want that Mega to be more valuable. So the first one we said 62.45. Let's look at the next line. Now you notice you only get 6,121 Mega for your same 1 ETH. Let's scoot over to the right a little bit. Now you can see where we're at right here. 5,216 Mega for 1 ETH. Let's scoot over a little bit. Now we're at 4,000. Let's go ahead and mark this. So at this point, if you were to spend 1 ETH, you would have 4,357. So 4,357 Mega. So again, so you can see the number right here. It tells you how much actual Mega is locked. So as we scroll up, that line is still the same height because it's a specific value, right? So again, as we scoot up, that Mega is going to cost more and more. So you're going to get, for 1 ETH, you're going to get less and less Mega, meaning that it costs more in Mega, right? All right, so let's go the other direction this time, guys. So over here, we notice on the left-hand side, we see that it's Mega locked. Over on the right-hand side of the line, we see that it is Ethereum locked. So let's take a quick look at that. I went ahead and set the pointer at one spot. And right here, we have, you can see 12,326. So 12,326. Okay. Now let's move the pointer over a little bit. So if you were to sell your Mega over here to get to pick up that ETH that's locked into Uniswap, it would take you 20,322 Mega to get that one ETH. So I'm trying to explain that's you have to think backwards basically. So if we're looking at it again across the line here, kind of a fun little game here. Let's flip this off real quick. So on the left hand side, so I'm just going to write over all of this work here. So we are talking about how much Mega, oops, this is all Mega that's locked here, guys. And over here, this is all the ETH. So let's take some real world examples here. So I have, let's say, 5,000 Mega, and I want to convert that Mega that we've earned in game, right, over months and months in a global office, and I want to turn 5,000 Mega into Ethereum, right? I mean, that's our goal, is to get Ethereum. So we have to look. I have Mega. So let's write up here. I have 5,000 Mega, and I want to convert it over to ETH. So the first thing we do is look right at the line. What is our price right at the line, right? And you're like, okay, cool. This sounds great. Let's look, Eric. The price is, so I could almost get one ETH worth of Mega, right? Well, that's where the misconceptions happen, right? So right here we see 6,300 Mega, but quickly we'll grab that 0.24 ETH that's locked into place. You can see it right here. There's 0.24, and then as soon as you get done with that, look how little bit of ETH there is. So there's 0.01 ETH, 0.01 ETH, 0.01 ETH. So we're going to crawl through all of that really quick, and you can see how fast the price is shifting. It's shifting all the way to 11,000 and shifting to 12,000. So you have to be able to gobble up that ETH. So your price is ever changing, right? So when you see the price fluctuate very quickly, that's because there's very little liquidity in this range right here. And the first place you start getting liquidity is right here. And that's what this graph is showing. If you're going the other direction, right? If we're trying to buy Mega, you start again at the pink line, right? Right where we were. And what's going to happen is this pink line that you see right here, let's say we spent one ETH. So we need to buy up the first line. Then we need to buy up the second line, the third line, the fourth line. And eventually what it's going to look like, this line is going to be moved over to the left a little bit. And it's going to look just like that. That pink line will be right there in the middle. And that shows us at what point we are in the liquidity. So a big confusion that I've seen inside of Discord is somebody says, okay, I'm buying Ethereum, or I'm providing liquidity by just trading on the market, right? Very simple. And that's not quite how this game works. So I'm going to show you another link. Let me see if I can pull it up. Okay, so everybody thinks, you can just push the trade button right here. Understand. So right here, this is where I think the misconception is. So let's say I have 500. Whoops. Let's flip this around. 500. So I don't have 500 mega in my wallet. However, I would get 0.07 ETH. If I flip that around, 0.07 gets me 500, right? And if I click swap, have I provided liquidity to the game? No, there is that hasn't created any liquidity at all. Where you're actually going to create liquidity is go to this add liquidity button. All right, that's going to bring you to this wild price range here. And let's get rid of this stuff here, guys. It's getting a little out of here. All right, so this is where we start providing liquidity, and I'm not actually going to do it for you guys, but I'll just show you how it's done. So the first thing we need to do is select the correct direction. So ETH to Mega. All right. So what it's saying here is this is the range that you're trying to provide. So again, if we go back to the liquidity, somebody right here has provided a range from this price to this price. And they've locked, what have they locked? So remember, this is our Mega side. And these guys locked ETH. And it looks like that they've locked in a range. Let's look. So they locked in a range of 12,326. And they locked it to 24,822. So that's the range that somebody chose to lock. Let's see how much ETH they locked in there. So each one of these nubs stands for 0.04 ETH. So if you look, we probably got about, I don't know, maybe 20 nubs in there. So we got about 0.8. So it looks like we've got about 0.8 ETH in here, in between these ranges. Okay. So that's what somebody chose to do right there. That's actually providing liquidity. So when you go to sell your Mega and you've burned through all of this area, then this is where you start to meet some resistance when you see that blue line there, okay? So the way that we're doing that is providing this range, okay? So I'm gonna delete the board real quick. And get on the right page, the liquidity page. All right, so we want to add some ETH. Let's deposit 0.3 ETH, right? And we're going to change our range. If we remember the graph, you can start to see that graph right here. We're going to change that range. We want to be in the middle, right? So this gray line right here that you're seeing right in the middle of your screen, that's our pink line, if you guys remember. So you can notice that it's asking for two things right now. Because we are left of this line right here, it's asking for a portion of it in ETH and a portion of the stake in Mega, okay? Now watch these lines right here. Watch these numbers as we scroll to the right, okay? So as we scroll to the right, you're going to notice the Mega's going down, down, down until we reach that gray line where it'll be 0. Now it's at 0 because we have reached that equilibrium. And now all you're doing is staking ETH. So this is what we would call right here is a wide range, or you can do a skinny range, right? So from 8,000 to say 8,200. Okay, so what would that look like on our chart if we were to do that? So from 8,000 to 8,200, we would see, we asked for 0.3 ETH, right? So let's look at that. So right here we have 8,000. So it would be a line that would look like this. Actually, I'm sorry, it would be blue. It would be a blue line. It'd look like this. And it would go up to about 8,200 equally placed. So right there, guys, is us providing liquidity in this tight little range, okay? So that would be 0.1, that would be 0.1 ETH, that's 0.1 ETH. All right, that's how we just provided liquidity for, again, this 8,099 to 8,263, okay? Now let's say I wanted to make a wider range all the way out to, let's say, 9,000, right? So 8,000 to 9,000. Let's see how that would look. So 9,000 is sitting around here, okay? So what it would do, we wouldn't have as tall a bars. Bars would be a little bit shorter. They'd be a little bit wider. We'd have more bars. So we're taking that 0.3 and spreading it out a little bit further. All right, so that's what we would call a wider range. All right, so again, this is 0.3 ETH worth of liquidity. So what does that mean? When we want to sell off our mega, again, let's go back to that 5,000 mega that we were talking about earlier. We would work through this stuff right here, and then we'd meet some resistance with this newfound liquidity here. And if we worked through all of that, then the price would fluctuate quickly in this region right here. That's where the little squiggly line is. That's where the price is going to fluctuate very, very fast. While up here, you're going to see that resistance until we reach this section. And again, we have that ETH backing that liquidity. So, I mean, in essence, guys, we've just shown you how to provide liquidity, why the price is moving, and how to read this chart. Oh, hi, hello, Cloudy. I'm sorry. We actually have somebody in chat here. I love it. All right, guys. Without any questions, I just really wanted to show you guys the liquidity. So simply buying and selling Mega on the trade interface like this, this isn't actually providing liquidity. All you're doing here is moving the pink line. So again, I'll refer to that pink line over here. So whenever you buy and sell Mega on this page, all you're doing is moving this line this way if you are buying Mega, and if you're selling Mega, you are moving the pink line this way. And that's not truly liquidity, okay? So I hope that helps you, Jones and Red Cornhusk. That was the purpose of the video. Some great questions in chat. I think that's the simplest way that I can try to explain it visually. And again, if you want to provide liquidity, simply go to that link that I posted and click on this add liquidity button right here. And that's where the magic happens. And if you're trying to interpret that chart, I've kind of shown you guys how to do that, right? And down below, you can see who's doing what where, right? So you want to see who's added Mega. So this guy added 16 hours ago, provided, it looks like 2,530 mega and 0.1 ETH. And over here, it looks like this address has provided 0.45 ETH worth of liquidity, right? So kind of interesting stuff. One other interesting thing that I forgot to mention is anytime that somebody does a transaction, this is an interesting one. I apologize for forgetting to show you guys this little piece. So let's say we've provided liquidity. Let's go back to our little 0.3 liquidity. Whoops, what happened there, guys? Who did that? Oh, okay. What's going on here, guys? I don't like that. Give me 1 second. Let me fix this pen. Nope. Interesting. How did we do that? Well, well, well. That's fun. There we go. That should do it. No. No. Why is my line so big? Um 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 um. Sorry guys, trying to find out where to change the line weight here so I can better explain this. Well, we can do this a different way then. All right. Pulled up a different program, easier to use. So again, we're going to provide that liquidity right here in the center, right? So that 0.3 liquidity. So anytime somebody purchases Mega between your liquidity range that you provided, which I think was, that's a fat line too. Jeez, guys. There we go. So if we provide between 8,300 and let's say 8,600, let's do this differently. 8,600 to 8,800. Anytime any transaction occurs, this little pink line occurs between that area, you get 1% of all transactions that happen between that price. So that's a quick way to earn some money on the portion of the stake that you provided liquidity for. And it can actually be pretty sizable. Hey Jones, I'm glad to see you there. Did any of that make sense to you, buddy? I mean, this one was to kind of help answer the question, and just kind of an impromptu video. I hope that helped a little bit. Do you have any questions? So we'll leave a few minutes there to I'll chat about a few other things and see if there's any questions along the way. So give me a few minutes. We'll see if Jones is still on here and has some questions. Maybe I'll be able to figure out this pen and why it's not Not doing me so hot. There it is. All right. Hey, sweet. Now we can get back to all right. I got this thing figured out now, I think. Yeah. Much better. All right there, Jones. Got any more questions, I guess, is what I wanted to ask. And did that make sense as to how liquidity is provided? So let's kind of look at the rest of the map here. So I've got a great thing to show. So let's kind of look at the graph of Mega and ETH right now. So I'm going to provide this in chat as well. Here's another great link for Dex Tools. This is showing the graph of Mega and ETH, and let's take a peek at that. Let's zoom in on this guy. So right now, Mega's worth 24 cents, right? But the number we really want to look at is right here. Let's see if I can zoom in on that a little bit. So 0.000157. So that doesn't really correlate with any of the numbers that we were talking about, but let's see. So all we really have to do is just the inverse. So 1 divided by this number, and that will get you the number that we were corresponding with. So let's take a look at that. So we have 0.00157. 1 divided by 0.00157. That is how many mega it would take to get 1 ETH at this current price. But again, it's all about liquidity, right? So let's take a look at this graph. Let's flip this thing over into terms that I like to look at, because if we're trading Mega and ETH, why are we adding US dollar into that? Let's look at the actual prices here, guys. Let's shrink that down a little bit. There we go. Now we can see a little bit. If I get my big head out of the way. All right, so we can see that we had a low of quadruple 7569, right? But again, these prices move very, very quickly if you don't have that liquidity. So right now we are at 1570. So what does that mean, guys? Let's go back to our chart. If we are trying to buy Mega, it's going to be expensive. We're right here we're teetering on the borderline. Right here, you can see we are teetering on the borderline. So if we go to buy Mega, we're going to meet all the resistance of increasingly more expensive Mega. So right here, it will get 6,200 for 1 ETH, and over here we'll get 4,500. And if you go to sell Mega, it's going to drop the price very, very quickly, because you only have 0.01 ETH worth of Mega. So if you want to get let's say 0.1, you need to sell 10 of these lines. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're going to get to a price of about 7,800 if you want to get 0.1 ETH. So that's going to cost you a lot of Mega to get that 0.1 ETH, if that makes sense. So just because you see these prices, again, very, very important that you look at this liquidity pool. And if there's no liquidity behind it, as we see here, that price is going to drop like a rock until it meets that resistance of this liquidity that we see right here. Right? So Jones, one of your questions, buddy, was about do you need to provide equal amounts of liquidity in ETH and Mega? I remember that question. So I wanted to again, it's all about. This is a great drawing. So if you look at this drawing, you can see where the liquidity matches this very well. You see the kind of that big lump up here, and then it drops down. It's the same lump that you see right here, right? So we're actually getting a screenshot of this. So what that is a representation is of a zoomed in picture that looks something like this, right? So if we were to zoom in a little bit, that's more like what it looks like. All right, so that's kind of that liquidity pool if you're going to provide that liquidity. So right here, if I were to scoot over here, you can quickly see, oops, once I get to the left of that pink line, now it's asking for the Mega, right? So it's asking for a little portion of Mega to fill this gap. And then on the right side, it's asking for ETH. So if we go to the right side of the line, it's only asking for ETH. If it's going to the left side of the line and we move this over, it'll only ask for Mega when we're over there, right? So it would ask for 5,000 Mega. We would provide that, and we'd have to switch this the other direction. So we'd flip this over to Mega and this over to ETH. And then we would talk in terms of decimals. I find it the easiest to do it the way that I showed you guys with ETH on the left, Mega on the right. But the point, one of the big points that I have is everybody complaining about liquidity. If you're complaining about it, then just provide it. Very simple. If you feel there's not enough liquidity in there, go ahead, stake your Mega or stake your ETH and find a strategy. One thing I do want to caution everybody is the cost of gas to withdraw your liquidity position. That can be close to about 0.009 or 0.01 depending on the price of gas. So it may take you 2 to 3 weeks to collect enough fees to kind of counteract that gas price, right? But that's part of the game we play, right? I think that's all I have. Pretty short, down and dirty video. If there's not any other questions, I think we'll just call it a day. Really appreciate everybody coming by.